passion. This is all in for the love of the game. This is LoveSetMatch.
I mean, Andre Agassi had this quote, you don't have to be better than everyone else in the draw when you go out on the court. Like, you have to be better than someone that's across the net.
I think you've got to stay active in a sport sense, you know, go out there, do some sports. I think it always makes you feel better. Maybe you're more tired in the very moment, but actually the rest of the day feels better. And then I think giving back as well, you know, making other people happy is going to give you a good feeling too.
Welcome to Tennis Pal Chronicles, the podcast to feed your passion for all things tennis. And I am your host, Philip Kim, also known as Coach PK, the tennis pro for the Langham Huntington Hotel in sunny Southern California, and the executive director for the nonprofit LoveSetMatch. And our mission is free tennis classes for all. I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Valerie Garcia. Hi, Valerie.
Hey, PK. Your nonprofit is amazing, and I love the intro of sunny Southern California because the last week has not been very sunny. It's been very rainy.
We just keep the myth up, though, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep selling the dream. But wow, it was a crazy thunderstorm, and for everybody else, we were actually going to record yesterday, but you had a power outage, and a lot of people did. Actually, a lot of my friends who came to the court today to try to catch a little bit of sunshine said they had lost their power last night too. So you were not the only one.
Yes, I think there was thousands, and it actually snowed in a bunch of places in San Bernardino County.
Right. And it's so crazy that we even have this crazy weather, very, very cold over here, and then record heat on the East Coast, right? Everybody's talking about how crazy the weather is right now.
Oh, I have been living under a rock. I didn't know they were going through that.
Well, just want to remind everyone, this podcast, Tennis Pal Chronicles, is sponsored by our wonderful friends at Tennis Pal, who have a great app to meet other people to play tennis with. You can also get coaching on there. So visit tennispal.com to download your version of Android or iPhone app.
Yes. Listen to what he says. It's the greatest app. If you love tennis, you have to have that app.
There you go. I'm so glad you could join me today, Valerie. Today, I'd like to introduce you via the podcast to some very passionate tennis players. They're actually a group of senior friends who are in Monterey Park, and they've been playing tennis for over 30 years here in the city where I live.
Nice.
They're actually seniors now, but of course, you know, they started playing 30 years ago, so they were young, middle-aged, kind of like us.
Yeah.
And, you know, they found community through the sport of tennis. They connected with other people, and that's one of the best parts of tennis, don't you think? Getting to meet other people that maybe you would never meet in your regular circle.
Yes, it's the greatest. I have a little group that I play with, and there's such a range of ages, backgrounds, and everything. And it's just great when you have that community of people who would never normally probably have a chance to meet, but the love for tennis is what brings us together.
And that reminds me of our good friend Mark, who's, you know, playing every public tennis court in Los Angeles, and all the interesting stories that he shared, and talked about how he is connecting with all of these different people. People, if you want to listen back, I think 2 episodes ago, you can listen to that episode about Mark. But it is just wonderful how tennis brings people together. You make lifelong friends. And it's kind of weird because sometimes some of the people have become really good friends, but some people, I just know them by name, but I see them every week, you know?
Yeah.
And I probably spend more time with them than I do with other people in my life where I'm close to, but it's, you know, it's just a matter of the activity that brings us together.
Yes. I think you play tennis more than anyone I know.
Is that true? Wow.
And that's great. I want to be like you.
Well, I'm so grateful that I get to do this as a nonprofit, and we get to offer free tennis classes to people, and really just try to add that educational component so that when we're teaching kids, we're not only teaching tennis, but we're really trying to extend the hours that people have in the classroom onto the court. So we're talking about science, we're talking about STEM, we're talking about all the different things that tennis teaches you, because we're talking about the rotation of the ball, the speed, the velocity, the human body and how the mechanics of it. And there's so much that kids can learn through the game of tennis.
That's awesome. And did you already say your website for that? Is it LoveSet?
Yeah, LoveSetMatch.
Match.net?
Yep. My previous, or I should say the existing website is LoveSetMatch.net. And we're actually launching a brand new website. We have these two really great people, Jolyn and John, who have been volunteering to put this whole thing on, put together a really great new website for us. So I'm super excited for the launch of that. Probably in a month or so, we'll go big and announce it and all. But yeah, I'm really excited to have just a specific website that just addresses the mission of the nonprofit. So that's coming soon.
Yay! That's awesome.
Well, back to my friends here in Monterey Park. It's interesting that these seniors who I'm introducing you to, they really just right down the street from the dance studio where there was a mass shooting here in Monterey Park. I mean, literally blocks away from the now infamous place where they had that shooting. And I really feel like just like the dancers that were down the streets, most of these people, these seniors, are Asian American, and they gather together for friendship, for laughs, for fitness, and, something more intangible that gives their life meaning, just like those people in the dance studio. And so I draw a lot of parallels with the groups because I feel like, they're coming together to find community. And I feel like that's maybe the biggest part of what they do, because they get together every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then they go out to lunch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And they have for 30 years. It's just
That's
incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it really gives their life meaning,
Yeah, I mean, that's so special. Not everyone has that type of community or, a nice group of friends like that you can see so regularly.
Yeah, and this group of seniors, they play at Barnes Park in the city of Monterey Park. And Barnes Park is one of the most iconic tennis courts in our city. It's located directly behind Monterey Park City Hall, which is literally a stone's throw from the tennis court, and the police station. So it's really the hub of the city, downtown central, if you will. And so if you head to the tennis courts there, you'd find 3 courts, the traditional green and red courts that have existed there since 1980, I'm guessing, perhaps even farther back.
Wow.
And the city's done a pretty good job of taking care of the courts over the years. I mean, they've lasted, and it's not horrible like some courts can be, some public courts can be. It's not like major cracks and all that stuff, So they've done a pretty good job. But less than a year ago, there was a major shift that happened on the tennis courts of Barnes Park, and it's the P word. Pickleball players started to show up.
Oh, the P word. It's a dirty little word.
Well, on these city courts, some of the friends that I'm going to introduce you to, one of them, his name is Hoover Ng. He's one of the people who kind of gathers people together there, and then they head to lunch. He actually invited me to join them after tennis at a nearby Chinese restaurant to discuss some of the challenges and the changes that are happening at the park because the city is allowing a lot of pickleball to exist there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start playing some of the audio from the recording that I did at the lunch. And I just thought it was so important for their story to be heard, for their voices to be known. These are people who, they feel like this is their home. This is what they do 3 times a week for years and years and years. And then here's these new upstart kids that come in and start playing pickleball, and they kind of feel, the city doesn't have their back, and they feel a little hurt, and so I thought it was really important to share their story.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, she lives in Monterey, but she lives in Monterey.
Oh, okay. And then
You live in
Since
Maripol, no?
1967.
1967.
I am
Wow.
I'm right at the edge. I'm right at the edge of Maripol.
Monterey Park and
60.
I'm in Alhambra. You know, like right behind.
The house people is
What is that?
37,000.
GW?
37.
You know the GW. You know Ralph? You know Ralph on Memphis?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the catty corner is the Chinese
neighbor
market.
just moved in.
I'm like right behind. I'm 5 minutes from Granada Park.
Ah.
So
1133.
where I am, it's just Alhambra. I know the certain part, it is Monterey Park. I know.
That's on the border.
So I'm like, so that's why people even argue with me.
Fremont and
When I get
Hillman.
off freeway, I have to go to Monterey Park side to go home. So they say, you live in Alhambra. I know. Go exit at Monterey Park. So we are. People funny. I say, I'm telling you how to come to my house.
Right next border, right?
That's funny.
Right at the border.
You live at Alhambra, right?
Well, I'm in Alhambra.
But close to Monterey
I
Park.
just found out that I was too close to.
You live in Garfield.
Well,
Garfield
Jane,
and,
the lady that didn't,
Near
you
Garfield.
didn't see her last time, and then this time.
And my two boys went to Marquette.
She's right in Monterey Park. And Jerry is not here. Jerry is in Monterey Park. There's a lot of them Monterey Park.
You live close to the orange courts, right?
Yes, right behind the aqueduct.
It's close to Bill.
Bill.
Okay.
See, Bill, you saw him the other time.
Yeah, I played with Bill. He doesn't remember me, I guess, but I played with him.
He doesn't remember you?
I don't know, but I played with him
Maybe he
a
did.
long time ago at the Orange Court.
He said he knows you.
Oh, he does? Okay.
He said he knows you, I forgot what he said, but he said he knows you. Oh, I know.
He mentioned you before he mentioned me.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Okay.
he did. I wanted to hear.
So I would love to hear how everyone started playing tennis. Like, how did that start?
How did you start? You said you're in the 40s, right?
35 years ago.
Well, I take lesson with Westport, Raul later.
Raul
But
later.
usually in the beginning, Rich Westport.
Richard Westphal.
And Tony Gerback. And after that, we stay always play nighttime.
Was it
Until I
community
retired.
classes or private
Community.
lessons?
Community.
Community class.
Yeah.
Oh, they teach community class?
Yeah, before we
Oh, Tony and Rich, they teach.
Rich always have a class. Rich later on, Tony take over a little while, and then Raul, I took Raul with.
You know Raul?
I don't know him.
Yeah. Raul teach in Barnes Park.
Oh.
I have
Just all public classes.
Okay. And that was, you said 40 years ago?
You know, yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
40.
and the other
But
one
never
is-
good because I don't learn. Yeah. Same old habit.
And how about you? How did you start playing?
I started about 2008.
Okay.
No, earlier than that.
More than that?
Oh yeah.
And before that, did you play ping pong or racquetball or anything
No, before
else?
I played at San Marino High School.
Oh. You played tennis at San Marino High School?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but at that time, the city is not going to, because that's a public school, and they are not going to allow us to play on the weekend.
Oh, right. They
can
closed the
allow.
school, yeah.
So I have to come to here.
I see.
Charles introduced me to him.
Child. Oh, then a little late then. Child, I think Hal and Annie joined us about 2002 or something.
Yeah, they are earlier than me.
20 years ago. Yeah.
Annie.
When she retired.
Yeah. But Lulu introduced her to play with us.
Yeah, Lulu.
Yeah.
Lulu was I know her from Milan, and she's the one who took me there.
Yeah.
So Lulu, I haven't
Lulu's my age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Might
maybe
not
that's
play
why I
already.
couldn't find her.
Yeah,
He's 80.
I missed her.
He's
I missed
89.
her, and
She's
I
89.
couldn't find her.
89. Upper husband,
90 something.
90 something.
Her
Wow.
husband-
Well, much older.
Wow.
That's all.
He
her
never
husband
played.
doesn't play. She played.
Lulu play in China.
Oh, really? Wow.
She was from Shanghai. She was from Shanghai.
Wow.
Yeah.
So early back then. Very few people.
TH, you don't know Lulu, right? You don't know Lulu.
And when did you start playing?
Oh, I'm studying late.
Huh?
Very late.
Very late.
Yeah.
When did you start?
About 20 years ago.
That's a long time.
Yeah, because after my kids grow up, then I have a free time. I joined those Montreal Park evening class. Grourbet. Yeah,
Okay.
that's all. Start from there.
Did you play ping pong or badminton before? Anything like that?
Yeah, I came from China, of course. And a bicycle too, of course.
So you feel comfortable with something in your hand that ping pong?
No, my family play, my husband play. My husband play when he was like a teenager in China.
Do you remember any of the other people that started the class with you or started playing tennis at that time?
No,
Are you still?
neither.
Oh, together.
I joined her. She introduced me here.
Retired a couple years back.
Yeah. Now retired, I joined those people.
And why is tennis important when you're retired?
Healthy. And the California weather.
California
No
weather.
place else like California.
Right.
I mean South California.
Right.
Yeah. I went to everywhere. No. San Francisco, no way.
Yeah. And it must be nice to have something to look forward to every day, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah. And a
Something on
friend's
the
social
schedule.
Yeah, I
life.
don't play. I still come down.
And then lunch.
Yeah.
We go to all different places around here.
This is the highlight right here.
Yeah.
One of the highlights.
And also tennis is the cheapest one.
Oh, cheaper.
If you compare
Very
the cheap
affordable,
everything
especially
else.
on public court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you want golf, ping pong, you have some environments.
Yeah.
Tennis here is beautiful weather,
Yeah.
friends, healthy. That's very important for
Oh, and don't hate me for this question, but why don't you start playing pickleball? It's easier.
Two things. Number one, that was kind of they started COVID. To me, it's more too close. No, social distance you still
Right.
insist.
Yeah.
So they broke the rule, right? They should keep the distance for a lot of words, right? And then,
Tennis, you can run more.
yeah, exactly.
Pickleball.
You
More
sweat.
exercise.
You sweat more than tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what two reasons.
I see. That's really helpful.
Some of our friends play both.
Yeah. Yeah, most of my friends play. I don't know if I told you that I started pickleball, but most of my friends play tennis and pickleball. Like Colin. Colin's the same. Ben Lou's son also plays. Do you guys know Ben Lou?
I talked to Ping. She
Ping.
joins our group once in a
Oh,
while.
Ping. Yeah,
Ping's
exactly.
done.
Ping, I said, Ping, I said,
Austin.
here's this petition to sign.
Yeah.
He said, and if you know Philip,
Oh, I didn't know
you
this
know
one.
Philip, he goes, yeah, I know him. And I talked to him. But yeah, his son decided to pick up pickleball. And he kind of like, he won a tournament or something.
Yeah,
More
he's one of the
form,
best players, but he plays both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem, I think he hurt his shoulder playing tennis or something, so it's easier for him to play pickleball.
She played very hard.
Yeah, he used to coach, actually, Austin. He used to coach tennis in Eldersburg.
Young man for the cubicle.
Ping, like,
They took lessons.
Ping's a lot younger than us, but she enjoys playing with us and stuff.
Yeah.
We always invite her and stuff.
Yeah.
She was just a shy person when I first started hitting with her.
Ah.
Then she developed confidence in her game, and it's like just like Amy, she hits hard with that two-handed backhand. I'm going, whoa, I gotta get ready.
Do you know her husband?
Yeah, really well.
Very well.
Yeah, we used to play matches a lot.
Very well.
Ben?
Really nice guy.
You talk about
running
who?
Both doctors.
It's Ping's husband.
Ben.
And Gabriel,
We know
tennis.
Ben.
Yeah.
We were in the same class
The
We
same
were in the same
tennis
class.
in the evening.
And
Like
Sandy.
Ben,
Sandy.
Lee,
Right.
and
Sandy was
So they
before.
said Ben was in the same class with them also way back with.
Yeah, long time
no,
ago.
he was taking Georgia part
Yeah,
between
Dean's class.
Rich,
Yeah.
Rich and Tony.
Yeah.
We were there.
He's teaching the class.
No,
Not teaching,
Tony
just
is a player.
yeah.
He's
play.
a
He was
player.
Let's face it, just like what Anita said, if you're a hardcore player, you want to play, you'll find players, and you'll find locations to play, because I got to get my tennis in.
That's right.
Ping is one of those people.
Yeah.
First, she just lives up the hill. Barnes is the easiest thing, but if no one can play there, you know, she doesn't say she'll go to Georgia.
Right.
She's the one I asked. I says, "Pink, do you have any idea who plays on the weekend here? Is there a regular group and stuff?" She says about 6 to 8 players and stuff that she knows of.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of other, you know, walk-ons and just neighborhood people and stuff. You're looking at about a dozen people.
Yeah.
And again, that's the value of that one tennis court that's dedicated to tennis.
Right.
Keep it available. Remember I said the other day, regular access. Not
Right.
just access, but regular access to allow people to build up their game.
Yeah.
And have fun at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so important. So important.
And how did you start playing? Do you mind sharing your story?
I started early. My dad played tennis. So when I was 8, 10 years old, he hired a coach to teach me and my brother. That's when I started. But then I live on the East Coast for the last 40 years, so I can only play during summer.
It's kind of hard to play in the snow, huh?
Yeah.
How about indoor?
Indoor is expensive. I can't afford it.
But you had a love for the game, huh?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if
I
you
play on
can't
weekends
play, you
mostly.
don't want to go anywhere.
Did you play in your high school team? Or?
Nah, my high school didn't have a team.
You talk about East Coast, right?
Yeah.
You go to school in East Coast?
Yeah.
And how did you find this group?
I moved here in 2013, and I have a friend who retired. He's like 10 years older than me. He said he played at Bounce Park once or twice. And he said there's a group there, just show up and you can play. So
Who is your friend?
Danny Shear, I don't. He's.
I'm just trying to draw lines.
Yeah.
To try to figure out.
But
the community.
well, I play him. You know, he was teaching at Brown, and I was a student, and I met him and we started playing. So I knew him very well. And when he retired, moved here. And when I retired, moved here, and I talked to him. I said, "Where can I find a place to play?"
Yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah, I saw people playing all the time. Just show up." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, and he was walking around at that time.
Yeah.
Walking around the
Well, he stopped playing because he has bad back. He can't play anymore.
And I remember first day when he came in, we are very happy that we have a new member. And I told Tears, after the game, we go to lunch together.
Yeah.
And you were happy. He said, yes.
He said, "Fine."
And we used to have my kids grew up here in Motion Park. They played tennis here. They have we had a kids coach. There was a lot of Philippine. To me,
Marvin?
future is important. So the kids is
Melvin?
important.
But then-
Yeah, Melvin.
Melvin.
Yeah, Melvin.
But he doesn't spell like this.
That's what to me is important. They have kids here.
Yeah.
It's not only for the adult.
Right.
You may
Kids program.
you move this ball away, but with the kids to play.
Right.
This is the coach here. Kids is our future.
Right.
Including tennis, because this is the best place. If California don't play tennis, it's a waste.
Right.
Okay. To me, my both kids grew up in Montreal Park. They start in Barnes Park, start with Melvin, then later on Coach Gerbeck. Coach Gerbeck at summertime, he opened the summer class here. My both kids start with them. You know, to me, it's just the hometown. Tennis is part of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot remove that. We can share. There's no problem to share, but you should not remove people, you know, because they want.
Right.
They can find somewhere else,
Right.
if they want, right?
Right.
They can always can find new place. Not move people say, hey, I want this place. You go somewhere else.
Don't take it away from
That's not nice. That's not the way teach your kids to do that. It's so important. How you can tell your young generation say, I go to that, I kick people out. Never do that. You know, that's important. To me, education is important. Do the right thing is important.
Because our group is very good. We welcome most players if they want to walk up. You can tell, right? Just check. They welcome me. Right?
Yeah, my whole family play tennis. I'm the last one learn. My husband played when he was young, you know. So it's very important tennis for the future for the kids.
Can we just go around and just say your name and how many years you've been playing at Barnes Park? Just so that I can hear that.
Hoover, and I probably about 12 years now.
12 years.
Long probably 20 years.
Bowman I've been playing for more than 40 years.
Amy, I played 20 years.
I think it's 20-something. I don't remember. At least 23, I would think.
More than 20 years.
I started 2013, so 9 years.
Awesome.
But now include the East Coast.
He's asking about Barnes Park.
Barnes Park, yeah. I mean, just to show that, the tennis community has been established for so many years, whereas pickleball has only been here for 2 years.
Jerry, I'm sorry, I mentioned
Jerry about 30, more than 30 some years.
Jerry's one of the long timers, 30 something years as
And
well.
Jane.
Or more, or 40.
Jane is a
Jane's
newcomer.
recently,
Bill.
4 years maybe.
Bill 都喺度 play 咗好耐。Bill Tang.
Bill Tang, long time. He lives here for a long time.
There's
He
players
played
that have
orange.
left, come by to visit once in a while, but they see the pickleball and they're discouraged. They say, well, we don't have. Bowman can tell you, we used to have all 3 courts filled with players. So then,
And then we
play
play full sets. We can't play full set anymore. Then we would have like standing and sitting there.
Yeah.
Who suggests 4 games so fast?
That's good. I like that.
No, because
Everybody
everyone
can
gets to
play.
serve at least one time.
Only one court.
Yeah.
Someone said, well, you should have a winner, at least get to 5 games, but I'm going,
The win is not
At
important.
the beginning, you said no dues. That's it.
Yeah. No dues.
no
dues is
That way you don't have to wait as long.
You get 20 dues.
But then I had 20. Well, I think at least more than 10.
You were so tired.
I was like,
But no, you're
I'm done.
absolutely right. It's like, hey, the longevity, there's that, and there's others who are not here today to tell you that. So it's just as important to them.
Yeah.
We used to have 3 courts or 4.
Yeah.
But because of the COVID, in the beginning of COVID, we cannot play tennis, right?
Yeah, especially the seniors would
Yeah.
not come out.
Yeah. And then later on, you can play single, no double. So
you had another question you wanted to ask?
I would love to hear any stories about like how it might be dangerous to have pickleball so close, or any problems that you've had in the past.
Yeah. I step on the net, the metal on the floor.
Oh, the metal leg.
Yeah, I step on there. I slept, but I luckily not fell.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Today?
No, that was a couple last time. I step on that. There's metal on the floor, so you can.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
You can twist your ankle.
Yeah, easily.
and then the line, those yellow line that's on our court. It's very slippery. I step on it, I make sure I don't run anymore. Otherwise, I would definitely fall because it's like you could feel it. It's like you could feel it.
Right.
it's also
And then
confusion too.
That's for sure.
What is so confusing?
Because
color
of the
line.
you have the white line, you have the yellow line, and a lot. It's
can't tell the ball's in or
confusion.
out.
Really confusion.
That makes sense.
Especially on serve, when it comes fast,
Yeah.
and the lines are so close, you have to stop and think, was that in or was it out?
The best way.
One pass it.
The best way, if the city have money, is to have a designated pickleball court.
Right. Make a separate court.
Make separate court.
The proximity of their courts with ours is just so close is that is really not safe.
Not safe.
They've had their players just run onto our courts, not realizing that the tennis ball is in play. And I've wound up totally by accident, but I hit a guy right in the middle of a rally with the tennis
With the tennis ball.
Not safe for them.
You did?
Not safe for us too.
Well, the tennis ball is okay. With a tennis racket, they could get it.
tennis racket too.
If they hit it wide and you try
But today, they find all 6 courts open. A lot of people.
Oh.
Yeah. So one court so close to the tennis court.
And some of them just walk around and they're oblivious to how fast the tennis game is, and our tennis players, while they're in play, can run right into them. And so we stop playing, and we've actually adjusted playing in the middle court because there's so many players so close by, and the lines are so confusing. A lot of us don't play the actual games and keep score on that court. We just rally, and we're waiting for our turn to go to the court that's the true tennis court to play on.
Well, because they, even though we play on second court, their pickleball net the host is so close.
We can't run over there to chase the ball if we had to during a game, so we don't.
No, but then they would sometimes run into our court, and then like he said, we could only control so much. If you run into the court, and then sometimes they don't even know that we're playing, and then just walk on. They just walk on in.
Not only certain day, a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of times empty. Yeah.
If there's enough separations, then that's fine.
Yeah.
And right now, with the 6 pickleball courts on courts 1 and 2, there's enough separation with court 3. Okay, but when they do courts 1, 2, 3, and 4 pickleball courts, and players are on court number 2 playing tennis, it's just too close. We're interfering with each other's playing. Balls are flying all over, and sometimes they get a little zealous and they start chasing it into our tennis court. And we stop play as soon as the ball's over their side as well. So accidents are going to happen more.
And Goldman was right, because like some days nobody there.
And one of the lady of the pickleball, the Vietnamese husband and wife, they play the wife. When we have the ball rolling to her area, she was so mad.
She always like
Yell
that.
at us.
Linda, right?
You know her name.
Yeah.
So they're playing pickleball. Your ball goes into their net,
Yeah.
and they get really upset.
Yell at us.
Some,
Yell at us.
yeah, a
There are
couple.
very few that
Yeah.
kind of like.
Pretty good, most of them.
But most of them, we just want to make sure that when the ball goes over,
That lady
they don't
always like
understand.
that,
Some of them,
no matter
they
what.
would run into our court to pick up the ball,
Right.
not realizing we're in the middle of the
Still
play.
play.
Right.
And
We could
the,
get
the ball is
right?
not pickleball ball.
Yeah.
Our balls could get pretty hard sometimes.
Her abused us.
It's okay. We ignore her.
Yelling and stuff.
Yeah.
She's
She's like that.
Well, there's always people like that.
We just
She's one of the interesting ones.
Yeah.
And then some guys, they act like they like it, but then they would say,
It's okay. So
remember what I told you? You
because the
don't.
wife do all the talking. and
City
yelling.
doesn't care about you, tennis. It's like, okay, thanks a lot.
Sad but true.
I hope you also are able to talk to Bill a little bit more. According to Bill, he's talked to a few other players.
come on. So
Again, confirm this with Bill, but he says he's talked to them and says, hey, they just want to take over the courts, period. They make it very clear to him because that's what they said to him. So confirm that with him. But I'm going, that's not sharing.
Yeah.
We already gave up, in a way, 2 courts. They've got 6 pickleball courts. We're down to 1 true tennis court. We're already giving more than our share, in my opinion.
Who's the one? Gary? Gary is the leader, right?
No, but
I thought
David
he was the commissioner.
But David was the one who said, City doesn't care about you, and it's matter of time. So it was like,
He said
they all
that
get
to you
upset, right? Everybody
on
gets
the
upset.
court.
they were there.
Say a lot of nonsense.
Like we were trying to negotiate for why, and then he was like explaining, say, you want solution? We go basically. You were there right when he said that. Basically, he said, you want solution, or you wanted to be angry. But I said I wasn't angry, but you're emotional. He told me that, and I said emotion comes with passion. But remember what I predicted you? I can't.
It's true.
It's like, emotion comes with passion.
Yeah.
And then he was telling me, I supposed to embrace progress. I said, I do embrace progress. It's part of our job. But embracing progress doesn't mean that we gave up the tradition. I said, tennis is a traditional sport. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been there for what? More than 100 years, okay?
Right.
I remember Wimbledon is started in 1800s, right? Although it's 20-something right now.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
I told you about what Dave Powell said to me, so that's Dave Powell said that to her.
What did he say?
He said to her, he said, you guys are getting too emotional. That's not going to get you guys to sway anybody to your side.
Basically, they're going to take over.
He says, you're going to lose, basically. That's what he's basically saying.
Yeah.
That lady, yeah. That
You
lady.
were there, right?
I heard.
You heard.
I heard. Yeah. But I saw she talk to him.
Yeah.
sooner or later, your court will be taken over by us.
We send her to argue.
Yes, that's basically what he said, right? She wasn't there.
So rude.
But you were talking to me, him, Bill. I think you were on the side.
And also, she told him, you better to find another place.
Yeah, basically, he kept telling us we need to. Well, he said there's a lot of tennis court around, but
He said the best solution is for you guys to leave.
give up and then just go somewhere else. It's like, we were here first, and this was Bill as
Hey,
dedicated.
just like the Indian. First,
I know how. Maybe
who's stronger?
Maybe I should just go
Well,
and call it
Indian is still
dressing
get
on
compensation.
Compensation. They give you a penny. Go over there to play.
Yeah, Valerie, there they are talking in the restaurant. Was that too hard to understand? I know it was a lot of noise as a restaurant is, you know?
I was able to hear it okay.
So Barnes Park, as I was talking about, it's pretty famous for our city. And I actually first started playing tennis in Monterey Park at Barnes Park. There was a former coach for the city. His name is Dean Edo. He used to teach there and have classes on Sunday afternoons. So I went and I enjoyed them very much. And I met a lot of people, a wonderful group of players, and made new friends. And, you know, just that whole vibe of being part of the community in a class. And some of them invited me to lunch or to dinner. I actually got to know them well enough where they invited me to their house for dinner and got to know some of their families. So I have a really special place in my heart when I think of Barnes Park.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize that you were connected like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Dean, he left the city. He and his wife, Celine, who I played tennis with a lot outside of the class, I got to know them so well that they would invite me. And so they would play tennis in, they had a house in San Marino that had tennis courts in their backyard. And the lady who owned the house would just allow Dean to come in and bring friends, and we would play on this court in their house.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was really amazing, yeah. The court there, though, wasn't really taken care of. And so I don't know if you've ever played on a court where it's like super slick. I'm not sure why it becomes slick, the concrete, but like the paint had like almost like a gloss on it. So talk about a fast surface with the ball skidding off the surface.
And if somebody hits flat,
yeah,
wow,
exactly.
You're not getting there.
And also your footwork, like I did feel a little uneven, almost like on ice kind of feeling, you know, it's just like, wow, it was kind of slippery. So, you know, I guess tennis courts really do need to be, you know, taken care of, if you will.
Yes, yes. And there's such a difference, like how they lay the foundation. With grit, with a little grit is really nice. It slows everything down a little bit and gives you nice grip when you're running around.
Yeah, I kind of remember a similar feeling when you and I played in La Puente at that court. It was a little bit slick.
It was right? A straight concrete with paint on it.
Right, but no grit concrete. It was smooth.
Yeah, very smooth.
Yeah.
I played at this place in Diamond Bar called Pantera Park. It's very well-populated area and like a well-populated park. And there's almost always a line to play tennis there. I think there's like 2 or 3 courts.
Wow.
But I waited for like an hour to play because it was the only court around that day. And let me tell you, it was so worth the wait. It was one of the nicest courts. It was so clean, and the net was like perfect, and everything was just really nice. And the court just, you could tell it was like quality. It was a quality court. It wasn't just concrete painted.
Interesting. So you could really feel the difference. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great. Like you just had so much more time, and the balls were bouncing higher. We had like used balls, and you couldn't even tell they were used because they just had great bounce.
Wow. That's so cool. Hopefully I'll get to play there with you someday.
Yes, you would like it. It's a really nice court. It's just unfortunate that unless you go... Actually, you know what? You and I probably would have an okay time because we don't mind playing in the middle of the day when everyone else thinks it's too hot to play.
Right. I love the heat. It's been so cold lately, actually. Well, talking about OG tennis communities like at Barnes Park, I've actually come to learn that there are quite a few teachers for the city that have helped kind of shepherd tennis along the way. And I mentioned Dean as the most recent tennis instructor for Monterey Park before myself. But some of the other names that I've learned are Richard Gerbach. There was a coach, Raul. Dean, as I mentioned, Dean Edo. And Tony Gerbach, who is also a former PE teacher and a tennis coach for Mark Keppel High School. And even still, to this day, Mark Keppel High School has a really strong tennis team and does really well. They don't do well in football or basketball, but their tennis team does really well. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you have any more information about who used to teach in Monterey Park in my city, I would love to hear from you, because I really feel like there's so much I want to know about my city, and, just kind of be like a closet historian for tennis in my city. I think that's really cool.
Yes. Philip, you're so awesome in the sense that you always like to do things really complete, You're not satisfied just knowing a couple things. You're like, I want all the knowledge. It's great though. That's what makes you so awesome. So you don't there's no half measures with you.
Well, I think it's, for me on this story, it's the emotion of it, because I just feel really sad that these seniors who love tennis are being pushed out of their community home. It feels almost disrespectful to me, and not honoring the seniors. And I feel like what is kind of more interesting about the situation is that, there's a buzz about pickleball, right? There's an undeniable buzz about pickleball. And really many tennis courts around the country are being commandeered by pickleball players, really without consideration for the tennis community. They're just kind of walking in and starting to use tennis courts and not really considering tennis players, right? Just like, I'm not sure how you would describe it, like it's their right, or of course it should be shared, or something like that. And I mean, I even had an incident at our barbecue this last President's Day, and I had actually thrown a really big barbecue party, and over 60 people came to come and play tennis. So of course the courts were completely full, and it was really great to see our tennis courts being really used as much as that. And then when we were eating, then these pickleball people came onto the court and started hitting. And according to the city, the pickleball is supposed to be just at Barnes Park right now, and another park called Sierra Vista. So, I approached them and I said, hey, we're having a tennis party here, and there's a lot of people waiting for the court and stuff. And so, if you want to play pickleball, you can play at the park where pickleball is supposed to be, according to the city. And he actually got in my face and told me to shut up. And he did it twice. And I was just like, okay. So I just walked away, and I was like, what? I'm not going to start an argument or call the police or be all weird about it. I just tried to be, hey, this is a tennis thing. But to me, it just showed me wow, how rude is that people would just not even be considerate of what's happening right in their own community,
Yeah. And I mean, what's strange to me is if somebody just decided they were going to skateboard or play soccer or play basketball in the tennis court, it wouldn't make sense, and everybody would understand you're not supposed to be here. So it's just strange to me that just because there's a paddle involved, it might make it a racket sport. It's supposed to be okay that they're there. But I don't know, people, there's actually a nice badminton community, and they have their own spaces to go to, their own courts and things like that. So I just, I think we've talked about this before. It is true. It's not either one of us are anti-pickleball or don't play it and don't have a place, but it's unfortunate when tennis courts are commandeered, let's say, for a sport that isn't meant to happen on half of our tennis court.
Right. And
It's a tennis court.
Right. And I completely agree with what you said. It's not that I'm against pickleball. And I actually started playing pickleball in Monterey Park years ago when my friend Hilton invited me to start playing. And there was this one park where it had kind of, it's not a tennis court, but it was almost like a mini tennis court. I don't know what that space is.
Yeah.
It was right next to the basketball court inside a little cage. Maybe it was like paddleball or something. But yeah, there was like, 20 of us. We would go and we would just play pickleball in this little, caged area. And that was totally fine too, because nobody was using that space and, there wasn't any conflict. And, as Hoover and his friends are sharing, there's some confrontation because the pickleballers are literally inches away from the tennis court on the same space. And sometimes, pickleball will go into the tennis court and they'll just run right into the game without consideration. And, obviously they can get hit, and then Hoover and his friends have also told me, and you can hear it in the interview, that sometimes their ball, of course, goes into the pickleball court and, the tennis players know enough not to run in there, but a lot of times the pickleballers get upset because the ball goes over there, right? And so there's no fencing. And so the problem is not that it's one sport against another activity, pickleball, but it really is just that the city has not created a space for pickleball so that it ends up pitting the two communities against each other, right? And it brings conflict because there isn't a plan and a design for this different activity to have their own space. And that's really the problem, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you and your community are doing something, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're trying.
I know I signed a petition.
Yeah, we tell. Thank you for doing that. I did want the city to know how many people support tennis in our area, so I started a petition just to say, sign this if you support tennis in Monterey Park and show your love for the game. We now have over 800 people who have signed the petition, which is I'm so grateful for everyone and giving their time and signing and making a statement, in support of me, in support of the game, in support of the courts. And just, I think that does send a message to the city, hey, take notice, we are here. And maybe one of the other problems is the perception, because the pickleball people are right in front of City Hall at Barnes Park. There's this feeling of like, oh, wow, there's 50 people on that court altogether. Wow, it's really popular, And as Hoover said, actually, one of the pickleballers actually said to the tennis people, hey, why don't you just leave? Why don't you embrace progress? And he said that, tennis is a dying sport.
Yeah.
And I can see how people might feel that way because there is a buzz. There's no doubt, right? I mean, you see like celebrities playing pickleball. You see it on the news and people are talking about this idea that it's the fastest growing sport. And even that is not proven. To me, that's a myth. I don't think it is the fastest growing sport. It's only been growing for 2 years, in that way, whereas tennis has been around for a whole long time. So to me, I really wanted to spend a couple minutes just talking to the listeners and just arming them with the truth of the facts that tennis is really growing and has exploded throughout, especially in the last 3 years.
Yes.
So according to the U.S. Tennis Association tracking statistics, the tennis participation has increased by 28% in the last 3 years. And that 28% growth is equal to over 5 million people who have now played tennis in the last 3 years. It's a brand new increase of new tennis players in the last 3 years. And that 5 million new players, just that 28% growth, is more than all of the pickleball players in the United States. According to USA Today, pickleball has approximately 3.3 million players nationwide. So to compare pickleball to tennis as far as, growth or as far as size, I mean, tennis is a much, much larger community and has been around for over 150 years. And so many more people are playing tennis than are playing pickleball. So I hope that what mostly comes across is that we get to dispel the myth that pickleball is a growing sport, tennis is a dying sport. That is absolutely not true.
Correct. I don't know anyone personally who plays pickleball, but in the past few years, I know several people who have picked up tennis either again or for the first time.
Yeah, and I know from my own experience, anecdotally, that during COVID, gosh, my lessons just exploded, and I was doing like 8 to 10 lessons a week, and I was trying to find coaches to hire to help me to teach, and all my other friends who are coaches were like trying to find coaches to teach. So we were like, hey, can you help me? We're like, no, I have too many lessons too. And so it really exploded, and that's just the lessons. We're not even counting the people who were just out there playing recreationally, because at the time it was the safest sport to play, right? During COVID, it was outdoors. It was actually listed by the CDC and by LA County as the safest sport. So a lot of people took that to heart and just got out there and played. I know for me, a lot of people were still working at home, and then they would just come out during lunch, or they would come out for a lesson and go back to work because they had more freedom. And so it really exploded during that time, and that growth just continues.
That's awesome.
So another way to look at the stat is that there are 6.5 times more tennis players than there are pickleball players, and that for every 4 pickleball players, there are actually 26 tennis players. So it's that's only the growth in the last 3 years. And so I just wanted to really drive home the idea that tennis is a 150-year-old international sport, and it includes a children's league, a juniors league, an adult league, all the high school teams that play at most campuses, all the colleges that have teams at most campuses, right? The great thing about tennis, and the thing that I'm betting on with our nonprofit, is that tennis has a youth track. It has a pathway for a young child to grow into having a professional career. There is an actual ability for them to play through tournaments, through USTA, play high school, play college, and eventually turn pro. And as you and I always talk about, it's the best possible sport for female athletes, because all the top paid female athletes in the world are tennis players, according to Forbes.
Yep. Yes, and it's a great way to get a scholarship as well. There's so many great tennis scholarships out there.
Yes, exactly. So in a lot of ways, it's a real ticket for people who are athletic, who stick to it, and it provides a pathway again for people to change their circumstance dramatically. Not to mention all of the benefits of the joy of tennis, the health, the fitness, And I think another stat that's really exciting is that the U.S. Open Tennis Championship, I think your favorite tournament, right?
Oh, yeah.
In New York, is our largest sporting event in the country. It draws over 750,000 paying fans every year. And that tennis event is more attended. They sell more tickets than the Super Bowl. In fact, they almost sell double the amount of tickets than the Super Bowl, because it's so many people going over a long period of time, right? So it just shows that the interest in tennis has not waned in any way in the United States. In fact, they had a record attendance this year at the U.S. Open. So, again, just driving home the idea that tennis is growing, it's exploding. It's something that is really vibrant. Lots of people are getting into it, and I'm really excited about the young players that are into it right now. And even internationally, I saw for the first time, I think it was a Chinese male that won a tournament for the first time, right?
Yes.
And that was like, you got to think all of China is kind of getting excited about that. And, it's just a numbers game. And isn't it 3 billion people? Like, they got to have some more people coming out. So.
Yes, that was quite big news for the sport and for China.
Yeah. So, yeah. And just again, tennis is growing. So for myself, I just wanted to make sure that, our friends at Barnes Park have our support, and that they know that they are not just left alone, that we actually will stand for them, stand with them, and fight to have our tennis resources kept for tennis. And I think hopefully, like we said, the city will find alternate solutions, but they're only going to do that if the tennis community stands up. And I think the tennis community has been kind of passive about it and just letting it happen, not to be confrontational, not to say we're against pickleballers in any way. And we all know that lots of pickleball players are all tennis players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people who are playing pickleball will play tennis at one time or another. And definitely the top players that are playing pickleball are all former tennis players that, have found a new way to go. I know a lot of people in my tennis community, they feel like they've kind of plateaued in tennis, and maybe health-wise or physically, they just feel like, it's getting harder and harder on my body. So they're starting to play pickleball because it's just so much easier on your body and it's so much more accessible to play. It still gives you, good fun, it's a fun activity. It's a good community. And, I'm all for people playing as much sport as possible, but obviously I don't want the conflict.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep all my smart Alec comments about it to myself because I don't want to. I like that you use the word activity frequently because it is an activity.
Well,
it's
that is to be seen. I don't know where pickleball will be in 10 years. I do know where tennis will be. Tennis will be here.
Yeah.
And tennis is an Olympic sport. Tennis is a college sport. It's a pro tour sport. It's one of the most recognized sports in the world with heroes like Nadal and Federer and Djokovic. So Serena Williams. These people become icons in our culture because of tennis. So, that's how big tennis is. And I just wanted to drive that home for everyone. Have I beat a dead horse here?
a little bit, but that's okay. The good thing is it's a figurative horse and not a real one. Is there anything, people who are listening, maybe in our community, local in SoCal, or maybe their community, if they're listening from somewhere else and having the same thing that you would suggest they can do, like any actions that might help our cause?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is that we as a tennis community need to come together and kind of speak up for ourselves to our parks and recreations, to our court owners, because unfortunately we are losing tennis courts in Los Angeles, and it's not because of a lack of demand. It's just a real estate decision, right? I mean, lots of tennis courts just don't make money for the owners of the land, and that land is so incredibly valuable if it's turned into a condo.
Yeah.
So unfortunately we are losing tennis facilities and spaces because of that financial decision. And so public parks are really the last place that we have to hold on to, and we need to protect that, especially for young kids, right? Think of all the young kids that can just walk to the public park with a racket and a ball and play. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to protect. We want to protect the ability for people to go to the park and just play for free, because if we don't have that, then all sports will die, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So where does that leave all of our friends at Barnes Park? Well, I mean, the tennis community did come out in force during a recent community input meeting that was sponsored by our Recreation Services Department. And it was, Valerie, I can't tell you how fuel was. I was really worried and fretful for my friend Hoover that, the city wouldn't hear and wouldn't listen. And honestly, we had an overwhelming majority of voices in the community meeting for tennis. And people were saying that they love tennis. They don't want to lose access to the courts. Sometimes they drive from park to park looking for a place to play. And I just felt like it was such a sweet victory for the seniors who meet at Barnes Park, like Hoover and Jane, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so that they feel supported, they feel cared for, and they have a home. And I'm sure it will give the city pause to reevaluate the current pickleball push. Mm-hmm. It's a long road ahead. We have to still meet with the Chamber of Commerce. We have to meet with the commissioners, and then we have to meet with the city council, and they're the ones who are going to make the decision, right? But hey, it was a great first round W for our friends.
Nice. That's good news.
But yeah, I do want to put it out there that there is that petition. I'll put it in the show notes, change.org. If you are in support of tennis, please sign that. I would love for our petition to get to 1,000 so it just continues to grow and show Monterey Park City Council that there is a lot of tennis support. I think that's really important. And I was kind of happy that our 800 was compared to only 200 people in the pickleball community who signed a petition. So that was nice.
Nice.
Something that recently happened is, like, right after this community meeting, Monterey Park actually posted a flyer for Monterey Park tennis on their Instagram.
Oh, nice.
So one of the ways you can support is just go to their Monterey Park Instagram and click like on that tennis post. Just show them that tennis is popular. I think that would mean a lot, you know?
I can't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Once we hang up,
so
I'm
much.
going on Instagram.
But I am very thankful to Monterey Park Recreation Team for hosting the community input meeting and hearing the voices of the many tennis players in our city. I mean, it can feel like pickleball is buzzing, but in fact, the tennis community is much larger and just as active, and tennis players should be considered before giving away, you know, those tennis resources. So I'm just really grateful for Monterey Park to be open enough to hear, you know, to listen, and very grateful for that. And I think, you know, I think Hoover and company, they want to play tennis for the rest of their life on their home courts at Barnes Park. And I, for one, am really hoping that their dream comes true, you know?
Me too. They have my vote.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you don't mind me ranting a little bit about my love for tennis. But, you know, it is a tennis podcast about the passion of tennis, right, as we say in our intro. And we really, really hope that tennis will get support and we won't lose resources. And the city will come up with a great home for pickleball players, that they'll have that place and that space in the community, because we want their community to thrive. We want the people to have health and have fitness and gain all the benefits of being outside and in community, because that's what we feel in tennis too, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Yeah.
For sure. Great. Well said,
thank you,
sir.
Valerie. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everyone, and may all your serves be aces.
Hey, Philip, so are you excited? I'm going to see you on Saturday. We're going to the desert.
That's right, Saturday. Oh my gosh, that's so great. We're going to see each other. We're going to spend so much time together. It's the USTA Indian Wells Family Day at Indian Wells. I mean, I just feel so lucky that we get to go, and we're going to do it together. So they invited LoveSetMatch. We are a nonprofit for tennis, and also now an official NJTL, which is a National Junior Tennis League organization.
That's so cool.
So
I didn't know
amazing
that.
We're that. I know, it's
Congrats.
just crazy. Like, we're one of only 250 around the country. Like, Serena has an NJTL, and Sloane Stevens has an NJTL.
Wow.
And now we have one.
Philip, PK in the house.
I know, it's so crazy. So they invited us to come and volunteer and to be a part of it. And there are going to be pros there. I don't know who the pros are, but just that we'll get to meet pros is amazing. And, you know, I'm willing to do whatever, you know, pick up trash or do whatever. But if they ask us to be on court with the kids and the families, which I kind of imagine they're going to need a lot of that. So, you know, whatever it takes, we're just going to be there and have fun. And apparently they're going to give us 2 tickets to the final for volunteering as well.
Super sweet. Like, I was going to do it regardless. That was just like super cherry on top.
Totally, yeah. And just how grateful is that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be super fun. So I was thinking, Valerie, would it be fun if we, like, recorded, you know, a little bit of our journey as we're driving and as we get there and stuff, and we could share that with our listeners too?
Yeah, sounds good. Deal.
All right, listeners, you heard it. We're keeping ourselves accountable. We're going to record ourselves, and hopefully you'll have a wonderful podcast about our experience and be right there with us on the journey. So we'll do that next time.
All right. How exciting. See you in a week, Philip.
All right. Thank you, Valerie. See you in a week.